dad in the wraparounds.
Mm-hmm.
One funny story he tells is that Stephen King was there on set when they were shooting the scene where Atkins hit his son, played by Stephen King's son. And King was like to Atkins, King goes sincerely, "You're not going to hurt him, are you?" And Atkins is like, "Steven, I'm an actor. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Like, I'm going to like lightly tap him like on the face and I had a sound effect." So King was like, "Okay, good." Like, please don't hurt my child.
Steven, movies are pretend, right?
It's like, what? That's something I have to learn, he says, when I have to maximum mode drive. I have to learn that lesson.
Well, I think, talking about the structure of anthology movies, I think these having bookends is effective. It kind of helps you. Like, oh, we started with, again, I go to Twilight Zone movie. You have the Dan Aykroyd, bookends to that film. So, like, I think it helps. Like, oh, it kind of, you feel like it ties everything together, and even though these are 4 or 5 very different stories. Although I do wish that Raoul, the skeleton, would have maybe been like a proto crypt keeper, maybe been like the host in live action, something like that. Because because on the posters for the Creepshow, he's all over it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be like your crypt keeper, but he's not. He's just in the window that one time, and then he's a cartoon. So, oh well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't do much in the Shudder series as well. He's pretty quiet. So.
Pretty quiet.
So he's pretty quiet.
I'm glad he's there though in that Shudder series. He does pop up and like does some like little quick bits, not bits like talking bits. I mean, just like visual bits, like he's holding like a skeleton or something. And
laughing, a lot of laughing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Zach, what do we do next? You got a count for us on this movie?
So I did. I went ahead and went with a death count because there's for something that was so different, it was hard to find the through line other than greed, of course, as Marcel has found for us. So we're doing a death count. So guys, could you guess how many deaths there are in Creepshow?
Oh my goodness. I gotta try to remember which they all are now. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I would say 17. That's pretty high.
I was gonna say 15.
Okay, so I came up with 13 or 14, but let's examine it together. We can see if I missed anything. So in Father's Day, you have 4 deaths.
Okay, I counted 5 there.
You have
I just off the top of my
unless
head.
I missed one. You have the old man, you have the aunt, you have Ed Harris, and then you have the housekeeper. Oh, I did miss one. I did miss one because it's the old lady as well. So so I did. So yes, there's 5 in Father's Day. So so that's 5, and then. Jordy Verrell, it's him, so that's 6. Yep. Death is in the title of that story, so he's dead. Something Gonna Tide You Over, there's 3. There's Leslie Nielson, Ted Danson, and Leslie Nielson's wife. So that is 3 there. The Crate, there's 3, because there's the security guard, college kid, the janitor, and then Adrienne Barbeau.
Billy.
Just call me Billy. Just tell him to call you Billy! Damn.
Great line. We're just getting eaten. Just tell him to call you Billy.
There's a lot of pin-up frustration of marriage there coming out, right? And then they're creeping up on you. Okay, would you count 1 or 2 for this? Because there's obviously the main character and then
the husband,
disgusting end. Then the husband, who you hear about on the phone call a couple times. So would you count that, Brandon?
Sure. Let's say yes.
Okay, because it comes up a couple times. It's a major plot point, I'd say, in that short story. By the way, E.G. Marshall as the guy. The only other thing I'd seen him in is the President in Superman 2. So it was fun to see him do something else. Right. I was like, who is it? Oh, it's E.G. Marshall, of course. And then finally, you have Tom Atkins dies by being voodooed to death by his son. So that does bring us to 15. That's where I came up with 15.
Oh, nice. I was a little off there. Marcel, that's what you guessed, though.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
I was off as well. So we were on.
So it's for sure that Tom Atkins dies? I always thought he just got pestered.
I mean, the kid was stabbing him pretty intensely. The red lights come on, you hear the music, right? I mean, what more do you want, right? I don't know. I'm going to count it as a death.
Okay.
Yeah, let's count him as
fair.
Yes.
So then the question becomes, guys, how many skeletons out of 5 would you give Creepshow? Marcelo, you start.
Ooh, let's see. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 skeletons. Maybe a 4.5. Who knows? But I'll say 4 for now. 4 out of 5. It's it still holds up. I like it every time I see it now. Visually, I love it. And George Romero, one of my favorites. He does some amazing work here with the help of King and the effects of Tom Savini. Yeah, straight 4 out of 5 for me.
I think we should change it. Instead of skeletons, we should rate it out of creeps.
4 creeps, then.
There you go. Very good, Brandon. Creeps it is. Well said. For me, you guys are going to be disappointed, awesome. But I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 creeps. Honestly, like I liked parts
Marcel,
of these.
I don't know if you know, I'm looking for a new co-host.
Well, I'm in.
I liked the crate. Okay, I liked something that tied you over a lot. I like parts of Father's Day, but Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrell, not a fan, and they're creeping up on you. I just almost killed me. So, like, I wouldn't, like, honestly, probably wouldn't watch this again. But I appreciate what it had to bring to the table,
wow.
And I'm giving it 2 out of 5 creeps. So. What about you, Brandon?
So even though you liked 3 out of the 5...
I mean, 2.5
does not
out
add
of 5. Listen, you guys, you're underestimating how terrified and disgusted I was by the last segment. If the last segment wasn't part of this, it would be a much higher grade for me. So,
But you got to admit, this is a horror movie, so it worked on you. You were horrified. Boom, points.
That's not the horror I'm looking for, though. So this is my personal feelings of it. Because of how I feel about cockroaches, I'm sorry, it's gonna be that low. So, but I'll make up for it next time. I'll make up for it next time for the next movie.
Okay,
Trust
that sounds
me.
good. Well, I truly love this movie, and I give this 5 creeps out of 5. Like, I think this movie is perfect, and I love watching it, and I think it's wonderful, wonderful fun, and it's definitely the most fun I ever had being scared. So, to quote the tagline off of the poster.
Also, I have no nostalgic point of view for this either. Like, I saw these like this week, so I think that does factor in. I'm Mr. Nostalgia all the time about stuff, so I hear you guys. I do, but just from 30-something-year-old guy who is grossed out by certain things quite extremely, watching this horror movie from the early '80s in the 2020s, that's my take. So.
Awesome.
There you
Excellent.
go. Fair.
Now, Marcella, we have one question here where we analyze, not knowing that there are any sequels to this film, do you consider this franchise fatigued at this point?
Currently, with the first film, let's see. No.
No.
It's not fatigued because the potential is there. Even hearing, I believe, Romero and Savini recording the commentary, back in 15 years ago when they recorded the commentary, they were still interested in doing like a sequel to these stories. Like it's like at this point it's still exciting. It's a horror anthology. You can do anything.
Yeah. So
the fatigue, nowhere there for this one, and we'll talk about Creepshow 2 later. But yeah, for me, yeah, it's wide open. I'm surprised there isn't currently a franchise of a horror anthology, is there? Like somebody's missing out on some smart idea, just making these into feature films and just rolling with it. So yeah, the potential's there.
Zach, what do you think? Is this fatigued at this point?
No, I mean I love some and I didn't like others to differing degrees. So I think that's the thing about anthologies, right? If you have another batch of stories, we'll see what comes up. And it's something that's such a rare storytelling technique, especially in movies, that sure, bring on another one. I'm welcome to see what new batch of stories there are, as long as there are no cockroaches.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely not fatigued at this point. I can't wait till we get Creepshow 2 and 5 more wonderful stories of terror, because I'm sure they would continue with that format, because that only makes sense, right? It works so well here.
Absolutely.
Marcella, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you and about some of the podcasts that you do over on Talk Film Society?
Thank you for having me. This was fun. Yeah, talkfilmsociety.com. Check out our writing, our podcasting. I mean, I don't even want to. I'm gonna look at my corkboard here. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 podcasts in the work.
Oh boy.
I can tell you that I have a wrestling podcast, which people should listen to, even if you don't care about wrestling. WWE and AEW and whatnot. Even if you don't care, listen to me and Marcus talk about wrestling on our wrestling podcast, Marking the Marks. It's a fun time. I have a fun time recording it. And then down the line, You'll hear my Lord of the Rings show. You'll hear... go to the Patreon. I want to mention that. Patreon.com/TalkFilmSociety. If you somehow, in some way, enjoyed me talking in this episode, hear me talk about Michael Bay for 13 episodes on our Bayhem show with me and Mike Schindler and Diego Crespo. That's on the Patreon.
There's a couple of Creature from the Black Lagoon podcasts.
Yes,
on the Patreon
check that out. There's 3 episodes on there too.
Yes,
Good
Zach
stuff.
and I. This show is all due to you, Marcelo, because Zach and I did the Halloween retrospective for you guys. I guess it's a year and a half ago now.
Oh yeah, We're coming about 2 years coming up this year, which I'm excited about because
we got another one coming.
I know another one coming.
Halloween Kills.
But our Halloween H4O series is what inspired Zach and I to continue on with franchise fatigue and keep doing movie franchises.
Yeah, I'm so happy you guys did that Halloween podcast. It was
we are too.
Very popular. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it too.
Oh, thank you.
And
just so you know, Marcelo, we'll tell you here now. So Zach and I have already discussed it ahead of time, and we would like to do the next one and release it under the Halloween H4O feed on the Talk Film Society.
That would be perfect.
Awesome.
Because I am so excited for that movie, for Halloween Kills. And I think what I'm going to do is, in the lead up to that, just re-release your guys' Halloween episodes. Because, again, they were so enjoyable.
Well, Zach doesn't know this, but I've actually already committed him on behalf of him that we're just going to redo those podcasts.
Just do them again. just reboot the podcast. Just do the same episodes over.
Yes, excellent. Zach, where can people find you when you're not picking cockroaches out of your breakfast?
Oh, my God. So, personally, you can find me at MoronZach on Twitter. That's MOOREONZACH. And I'm also the host of my own podcast, Always Hold On to Smallville. We talk about each and every episode of the Young Superman show. Over there, you can find us on Twitter at Always Smallville with 1 S. And Brandon, when you aren't luring your wife down to a cage with a gorilla monster, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. I am also over on the Trek FM station with a show called The Line, which is all about Star Trek Picard. We're having a heck of a lot of fun over there. And over on the Fandom Podcast Network, as well as in our own independent feed, you can find Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. I have my friends Chris and Tom, and we go over Hitch's films one at a time in chronological order. At this time, we'd like to thank the executive producers of the network, Ken Tripp and Tony Robinson. Thank you so much for everything you do behind the scenes. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much to Zach Tripp for creating our wonderful theme music. To you, the listener, if you want to give us a rating and review, we would truly appreciate it. It helps us to be found in the iTunes feeds and whatnot. Also, you can find us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/UFPEarth, where once a month at the $5 level, you can get Zach and I doing an audio commentary for a Star Trek episode. And that's going to be a lot of fun. We released a couple of preview short treks in our feed just, I guess, about 2 weeks ago there, as far as this goes. Well, that's all we have for you this week. So until next time when we cover Creepshow 2, beware, boils and ghouls.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.